And they have Cookie on their roster. That's the other side to this coin. It's 6 Highlander players. One of them doesn't play a real class, and then they have Cookie. Ready to go anytime.
Come on, playoffs.
You know, Cookie legitimately wanted to play this season. Like, he actually came to me and, like, wanted to, like, play on 7. Because I sort of said while I was streaming, like, Cookie, you know, just say the word and we'll make space for you. As I said to him, like, a million times, sort of as a joke. And then he sort of came to me and he was like, oh, like, you know, if there's room, I'll actually play this season.
So then you didn't pick him up? Why?
No, because, like, he doesn't want to actually play, like, long term. And we're obviously building towards offline events and things like this.
Okay.
And he doesn't want to go to LANs or anything like that. But, like, legitimately, like, if there was a good team around this season, we'd see Cookie playing. Like, if there was a good team that could accommodate him. But alas, instead he's roster riding with Highlander players. 4th and 10 though, so that's pretty good. But yeah, moving swiftly on. The United is growing old. Yeah, it's pretty much season 26. I mean, a lot of ground had to be covered. Not really enough time to go into as much detail on some of these areas as I would have liked. Yeah, any remarks on season 26, gang, basically? As we plough through.
Don't think anything which we haven't already mentioned. Like, the bottom few teams are kind of how you expect. There was this whole kind of a collapse of Threat 6 a few weeks in, where they more or less changed off classes. Nation was like, right, I'm out. They brought in Dagoop, and they're kind of off-classing, doing whatever. Looks like they're still managing to, like, I think they drew against Nunya, but, so, I don't know, last is hotly contested, who knows, but a bit of a kind of, like, clusterfuck anyway. We didn't mention, but top 5 hot news off the plate, signed by Nerd Rage now.
Oh yeah,
So,
no, that's what I feel.
So, like I said, in terms of moving towards future lands and all that kind of stuff, with Nerd Rage for the French land and towards the summer land, so maybe they'll be able to get to more events.
Yeah, no, that's cool, because I mean, I don't know, maybe, I think some people think like Nerd Rage are like dodgy or like unreliable or something because of the way they dropped what went on to become crowns. But that wasn't like anything to do with them being like untrustworthy or like dodgy or anything like that. They basically, I won't give the exact details because I don't really remember them, and some of them might be slightly sensitive, but essentially a key source of funding for the organization became no longer tenable. So they were just very upfront with us and said, we're not gonna be able to like give you any money, so let's part amicably now before anything goes awry, basically. And that was like nowhere near land. It was like months away. So, you know, it was all very clear cut. But now they've you know, sorted themselves out. They clearly have something to offer top 5. So like, yeah, it's pretty good pickup for Nerd Rage and good for top 5. Just to clear that up, because I mean, I've had some people since I've seen this news, some people have come to me and said, you know, didn't Nerd Rage sort of screw you over or something like that, or not follow through on promises? But it was nothing really like that, to be honest. It was sort of an unfortunate set of circumstances, and everyone was pretty straightforward about it. So that's probably just worth mentioning. Yeah,
all good stuff though.
Right, so that's pretty much, I don't know, I think that's pretty much everything that was actually like real TF2 things that happened lately. But now I want to do something that we always used to do on the old pirate radio, and do pretty much the only thing that really allows us to call this pirate radio, since we've kind of just babbled on for several hours about various TF2 things.
That does actually make it quite pirate radio like.
Yeah, pretty much, I guess.
The only show that took an hour and a half to get going.
We'll get there in the end, though, I'm sure. But yeah, so I can't remember what we actually even used to call it. Was it most retarded post of the week? Or was that what we called it?
Shittest post of the week, or worst post of the week, or something.
Worst post of the week.
Which I feel like a story that's always missed in TF2 is because we literally made this guy's career in TF2 with this. Like, I don't know how many people actually remember this now. I know I do. But the first ever pirate radio, honestly, I'd say the shittest post of the week. It might have even been like a feature we did for literally a week, and then I couldn't be bothered because it meant a lot of actually reading forum posts and, you know, determining which one was shit, which one was good. But the first ever one was on Kaya, and this was like before anyone knew who he was. He was just some Swedish guy playing in Div 3 along with probably like 60 other Swedes. And I can't even remember what he posted, but we were like, yeah, this guy, this is a fucking terrible post. He's a fucking idiot. Like, this guy will go nowhere. No way he'll ever play the top scene. This guy's a moron. No way he'll ever be like main calling a Prem team or doing the Cameron work at an I series. This guy has no idea what's going on.
I'm sure he had like multiple like wins in this category. Actually, I'm pretty sure we did it a couple of times, and he actually just became renowned as the guy who we actually like in the end actually actively look for his posts to find kind of which one we could shit on that given week.
It's a legacy.
I wish we like actually still had the posts so we could sort of like point back to them because they were.
Do you want to see if I can find them quickly?
Yeah, maybe.
You keep talking, I will.
But yeah, those were pretty good. But yeah, either way, we're going to try and resurrect that segment now. We haven't got anywhere near the same level of wit as Greg Bushell, so it probably won't be as good, but we'll do our best. So, oh yeah, just to kind of say what it is, basically we just find things that were shit on the forums, Twitter / TF2 scene in general since the last episode and talk about why they're dumb, basically.
Strong idea.
So yeah, I mean, I've got an unfathomable amount of them actually listed here. I don't know where to begin. I need to actually see which they are because I didn't actually label them when I wrote them down. Oh yeah, not really a strong contender, but one that I found kind of a bit reprehensible because it was Team Fortress TV. Was and I guess in the VOD not on the VOD but on the YouTube, I'll sort of put a link to these as I'm talking. Was TFTV? They made a post saying just give me the exact phrasing of it actually because I found it. I always find it's annoying when people do announcements of announcements, and it was we have a very special announcement in 2 hours. Ready the hype cannons. So I'm thinking, fucking hell, what have I missed? TFTV's tweeting an announcement, like a big fucking announcement is coming, boys. I was thinking, like, bloody hell, what's going on here? Something big is coming. And then it turns out that what it was there's a new map cup. A new map cup apparently justified TFTV doing the only big, like, I don't know, I've never seen TFTV do that before. So I genuinely was thinking something big was coming. It's a new map cup with $500 prize pool. Don't get me wrong, that's not like a bad thing. That's pretty cool. But I don't know. I've always had like a bit of a peeve.
It's a bit much. It's a bit over the top for some NA only playing some weird maps for a couple quid.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a bit of a weak entrant, but I don't know. I don't like these.
Oh wait, also right, like if you're doing like an announcement of an announcement, if you're trying to like generate hype now, hey, we've got some big news. Hey, we've got some big news. You sort of like tease it out like, hey, there's big news later this week. Hey, there's big news. It's going to be Saturday now. It's going to be big news on Saturday, right? Right, Saturday evening, guys. Make sure you're watching our Twitter on Saturday evening. Not, hey, everyone who sees this post between now and the next 2 hours, get really fucking excited. Like you know, like you actually tease it out. You know, you actually like a film or something, you tease it out over the course of like fucking months or weeks, or you actually build to it. You don't build to it over 2 hours.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's like, oh, I'm thinking about posting something in 2 hours. Yeah. Get ready.
Was there a picture of Yuki they used as well? Is it Yuki in the?
I think it was actually, yeah.
In the image, that's a pretty cool picture. But yeah, anyway, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I wasn't impressed by this. But anyway, moving swiftly on. I've lost the list.
See, thankfully, we can move on to something which is... So, see, both those are great and all that, but they're a bit opinions, right? You know, people can have different opinions. We can move on to something which is objectively stupid, and that's Maryland getting his main account backbanned.
Yeah.
For, what was it, CS or something?
Yeah, and the ensuing discussion was kind of a train wreck.
It was one of those threads where the second you click into it, it doesn't end up being a mess. It starts off a mess, and it just gets worse and worse and worse as you read.
Yeah, what was his point, like, in that whole thing? Because I didn't get to read did any of you catch the discussion, like, when it actually happened? Because there was, like, an admin deleted his post or something like this, so I didn't get to read it in its full grandeur.
All I saw was just a bunch of, like, yeah, I didn't catch it, like, well, not live, but live. But, like, the gist of what I saw was about a 50-50 split of people being, like, you know, oh, it was a ban for something else. Oh, you know, who cares about TF2? Dead game, all that same kind of, like, shit. The arguments that, like, basically non-entities the second you, like, start using them. And a bunch of people just being, like, asking the very valid question of, why the hell would you ever cheat on your main account? I have no idea. I think, like, presume like the admins just like saw a back ban, like got rid of it. I think he did actually end up getting it reverted because
Yeah,
was
it's
for like
reverted
CS
now,
or
his
whatever.
profile.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the end, it wasn't. He hadn't actually cheated in TF2. He just had his
Yeah.
profile private. So the admins, I guess no special treatment. They couldn't see what game it was for, so they just
It's like a
automatically banned all
default
the
thing,
accounts.
though, isn't it? If you're VAC banned, you're banned from ETF 12. Like that, I'm pretty sure that's been a rule for a long time. It's just like a default thing.
Yeah, and somehow this led to a very genuine discussion about whether, I don't know, about whether cheating should be, I don't know, like, it was then very much put forward that it was okay to cheat because he was only cheating in pubs, and I don't know.
But it was stupid, basically. So, like, it's on the list.
It's on the list.
Yeah, but it's also like wildly irrelevant as well, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I guess
Like the claim isn't, hey guys, Merlin's been VAC banned. He was probably cheating all the time. He won those games at LAN and won those online tournaments and won that money, right? He was probably there's no point to this. Like a player who doesn't play in the league anymore now isn't allowed to play in the league anymore.
Yeah.
It's like me being banned from, I don't know, the high street in Paris or something.
But just why would you cheat on like your main account in any game? Like, I don't understand. Like, if you're even vaguely concerned with your online reputation, there's like literally no need to cheat.
But you've met Miralyn, right? You played with Miralyn, right? Like, does he really strike you as a sort of guy that like thinks through everything that happens?
Well, maybe perhaps not, but
not really as a dig, but he's not. He just lives in the moment.
I suppose so. I don't know. I kind of fall on the side of things where I think they should just, I don't know. There is no way to do anti-cheat in TF2, so I'm actually completely fine with like the hardline approach of just anyone you catch wind of actually cheating, just like ban them. I don't know. As someone who's never experimented with cheats, because I think this is like a thing that people actually do. Like a lot of people experiment with cheats and things like this. It's something I've never done, so maybe I have a slightly different perspective on it because that was never something that even vaguely appealed to me. But I'm actually completely fine with ETF2 or banning everyone who they even get the vaguest notion has cheated, even if it's in other games. Because there's actually no way of catching cheaters in TF2 with the current like infrastructures. So I'd rather they find a way to ban. I think cheating is just wrong, basically. Like, I don't think it's like, oh, you're a really bad person if you cheat. But I just think there's no real way of reliably catching cheaters. So when you find someone who has a predisposition toward cheating, go ahead and ban them, basically, as far as I'm concerned. And the fact that this turned into a discussion of, oh, but he only banned? He only cheated in another game, then it's fine. I don't know. I found this entire thing like a reprehensible discussion, to be honest.
I thought it was crazy the fact that isn't it the case that if it's like a random VAC ban, it just counts as a year ban anyway, doesn't it? Like if he's not playing, who cares?
I think so.
I think I think it's just a year anyway. So if he's not a regular player,
I don't know. Just skimming through this thread, like it's like it's trying to start a debate, or like, the original post is just like clickbait essentially, and then the first parts of the post are irrelevant. Merlin steps in because he's, really proud of his ETF 12 reputation and his European TF2 reputation. He doesn't want a black mark on his name, right? Which is kind of fair enough. But then it very quickly descends into like a big sort of moral debate, but nobody's really actually committed to having this moral debate. There's no purpose. There's no purpose or end goal to this moral debate.
Yeah.
It's just sort of circular and pointless.
It was pretty good though, either way. I enjoyed coming home to this. I just wish I could have seen it before, and Admin deleted a bunch of his posts, as in his own posts, and completely essentially double backed, I guess, on whatever info he originally had, because you just see Miralyn replying to random things that are no longer there. So it's a bit all disjointed at the end when I actually get there. But yeah, the main feature and the main reason I actually bothered to put this segment in to the show was. Now, let me preface this by saying, I think TF2 has for a long time needed a more up-to-date tutorial, and I'm in no way just trying to shit on anyone's effort to make a tutorial, and this is not just a sort of, let's kind of rag on the bandman
What would stop
kind of
do?
thing. But is it actually considered episode 1?
I think
It says episode 1 in the title, so I would consider it episode 1 as a person tuning in,
Episode 1 of,
or part 1 or something. Yeah.
of, what is it, DMU, which is not De Montfort University. Banny's actually got the trademark for DMU now. It's actually Banny's University. But anyway, the first episode of that was actually such a perplexing experience to watch. And I'm doing this with no attempt at like humor or anything like that, but it was just genuinely bizarre to watch. And I really like, as someone who already understands TF2 and what it takes to play the game, I came away from it just really, really confused, basically. And it was much like probably this first effort of our podcast. It was I just felt like it was a bit of a poor effort overall. I'm not sure.
That's it. Like, I didn't watching it. You don't get the feeling of necessarily disliking it. You don't look at it and just think, oh, this is pointless, this is stupid. You're just a bit like, right, okay. My big confusion mainly comes to the fact that it is obviously production quality is like top notch, right? You got some top banana type editing stuff.
Yeah, like Shunik is doing a sick job.
That is going to take a long time to get through TF2 editing with that quality, like doing this like week by week. If week 1 we basically tell you have a mouse and keyboard, then we're gonna go a few years down the line before you can actually play a game. Surely, that's what I'm thinking.
There's a few bits like it kind of like it makes sense for episode 1 to be like, right, so you want to play competitive TF2, right? Here's what you should have, you know. But with a lot of guides and a lot of like, this is broadly not just Banny, like when people try and teach people TF2, lots of people often go to like way too much detail for your average pleb.
Yeah.
Where really you just need to go into like the super basics. So like for basics, for gears and settings should be, yo, turn your FOV up to fucking max.
Yep.
Get a nicer looking HUD so all your shit's in the same place and easier to look at.
Yeah, like at the very least, it's an option, you know?
Yeah.
That's all you need to know is there is the option. If you don't like the current HUD, you can get a different one.
Yeah. Like, but then like, because if you've not seen it, I'm sure Jason will post the link in the comments.
Yeah, it will be linked in.
But, like when he starts going into like, oh, you know, you like don't use your fucking trackpad on your laptop, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like, because there's an episode 2 now as well, but then it makes this weird jump, whereas like, hey man, you've not heard of a fucking keyboard and a mouse, right? But you've heard of competitive TF2?
Like somehow they've got this far.
Yeah, they've got to fucking TFTV and gone, I want to play this game.
Yeah.
I mean, currently I'm watching it on my fucking phone, right? I don't know how to install TF2 on my phone, but... Oh, wait, there's a video. Oh, this tutorial says I need a computer.
No,
Shit, I'll get working on that.
all that's mandatory is a microphone and a mouse. In the optional category, we have keyboard, mousepad. The internet is apparently an optional extra for the player.
We
of
just
Team
play at
Fortress
LAN.
2.
Just play at LAN, Jason.
Yeah, but then at
You
the
interested in
end,
Comp TF2? Come to iSeries. We'll see you there. We'll talk you through it live.
to these players that potentially aren't already aware that they need a keyboard and a mouse and a mousepad, they are then told in explicit terms that they definitely should get a 144 Hz monitor. So we've gone from not having the basic input devices that are needed to play to you should spend £300 on a monitor. I just feel like the entire thing was like, I don't really get who it was aimed at based on this.
It's like half of it literally people who have never played a PC game in their life, and half is aimed at people who like have maybe played like a decent amount of pubs and are looking to like go into actual like competitive TF2. It just seems like a really split audience, especially when it goes on to saying about like the class change vines and shit.
Oh god,
like,
yeah.
You're putting that in, like, basics for beginners, keyboard, mouse, no trackpad, class switch vines.
It's just, yeah, it's like, the idea is right, you know, there's I'm sure you can remember previous attempts in this case. There's always these people, there's always sort of been this running idea ever since TF2 existed, like a step-by-step guide for everything, do you know what I mean? Like a real intro to competitive TF2. Because we're so different from the out-of-the-box game, an intro to it to make it right. Yeah. So, maybe Banny is the right guy to do it because of his stature, his popularity within the community. He's got a reputation. He's got a following already.
Yeah, in terms of getting the word out there, you couldn't really ask for more.
But like, it's just again, there's no target audience in this. Like, who is it? People who have never played a competitive shooter before, or is it people who have played TF2? It's like it's trying to be everything to everybody.
I was
like it's trying to
say that.
It's trying to cover people who are sitting there with their like Microsoft basic everything, you know, like mouse, keyboard, everything else, you know, all the way up to these people who are like his subscribers and followers on Twitch, you know, who are probably like quite active, prominent pub or low division players or something, you know, like everything there, but also putting in something like for stuff like for class binds, they should just be two completely separate entities. Like, here's your intro to competitive TF2 for people who know what TF2 is and have played it, and here's some cool things that I use, some cool binds that I use, and some little tips for like people who already play competitive and maybe just want these little these little binds, these little scripts to do extra things.
Yeah, I feel like it's putting up such weird barriers in a way, because I mean, I feel like if I came into this, like, a lot of Banny's audience is surely going to be about 13 years old, and you know what I mean, like with all sincerity, like a lot of them are quite young. You know, a lot of people on the internet are young, and it's just like a fact. So they're coming into this video thinking, I want to play TF2 the way I see the man playing TF2, and 2 minutes into the video, it's telling me that I should be, I don't know, like I need a. It's the 144 hertz monitor thing that really hangs up on me, because it's like he's basically said it's optional to have all these other things, but then he's drilled in that like you're never going to get anywhere without a 144 hertz monitor. And I remember when I started TF2, like, I mean, I got to like Div 1 before I got a 120 hertz monitor. I played, like, no fucking joke, I played on a Monopoly board as my mouse pad for the longest time, because I went to my very first LAN when I was about Division 4, and then I left my mouse pad there and just, I thought, what the hell, and I used the Monopoly board as a mouse pad for the next 6 months. Until I went to another LAN and I bought a new one there, because this was sort of like, this was years ago now, so you're talking before Amazon Prime and shit like that, and before you could buy, you know, like if you got into Maplin's or something, you couldn't buy gaming accessories back then. And it's just sort of like, I feel like there should have been a fork somewhere at the start of this video, like, you know, are you already familiar with the idea of PC gaming? Because it's trying to appeal to people that have literally never played a PC game, as far as I can tell. The only thing they really need to be told is, you need a microphone. Because if you don't have a microphone, you're going to piss people off. The rest of it, it's just sort of neither here nor there. I mean, maybe the trackpad is sort of a point worth making. It's like a real hindrance if you're going to use like a laptop trackpad or something. But other than that, like, nothing else is of any significance. And I feel like referencing anything else is putting up weird barriers. I don't know. It's baffling to me. And the class binds thing, I've never had those fucking class binds.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I looked at it, I was like, oh, you know, I can see the idea of like them being neat and stuff, but that's not like basics for beginners.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the same, I played Medic for way too many years, and I never had even a hat switch bind or anything. I just clicked as fast as I could.
Yeah, these are like, I feel like all these little things should have been like a very last lesson, you know, or like, I don't know, at the end, because he's doing like these little milestones, so it's sort of like there's several parts, but they're split into like milestones on like a map, and we're currently in like the, you know, the very much starting off like stage 1 basically. And there should have been, like, for me, for my taste, like a separate video, just with, like, these weird little, if you fancy it, here's how you can really nerd out and get these extra tweaks to your game.
Yeah,
you can spend
like
£350 on a monitor. You can bind your numpad to different classes so you can change spawn quickly. But, like, literally, like, I don't think half of Prem has these class change binds. Like, I think when I played in Prem for about 4 years, I decided to bind F to, like, one class change thing. It was basically a panic button. And I did that after about 4 years of playing at the top level.
Yeah, like I think it's like vastly overrated. Not like overrated, not like it's not necessary when you get to the top level, but like up until that point, like it doesn't really matter. Like I played on a fucking TV for like 5 years, like a literal.
I actually
TV.
remember that. I remember seeing it.
Yeah, like
I-46,
I-46, yeah, I-46, right. So I'm sitting like back to back with Mix-Up, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not like really very tech savvy, right? So in my head.
All the same shit, you know?
Right. It's a screen, right? So I had a monitor, like a 4x3, like an actual PC monitor, which I would later realise is actually a different thing. But I was like, my TV's bigger, right? Widescreen, sweet. Put the widescreen in, right? Then in between moving houses, like, you know, like uni where you move house every year, I'd also lost the screws that screw into the stand. So there were some other screws on it. So it was kind of like the stand was solid, and then the screen would like rock back and forth, or, you know, if you move it or whatever. Wasn't really stable. So then I rock up with that at I-46, like my TV on a rocky fucking stand.
Oh god.
Plug it in, like, yep, I'm here to play.
I remember just walking over to Sab. It was.
But again, like, you can play. I play competitive TF2 for like 2 or 3 years.
You were literally at LAN.
Yeah,
you'd got in so far that you were at a LAN at that point.
Yeah, and I think we were on like I can't even remember where we finished, but like a semi-decent mixed team, you know, like top 10 finish kind of thing. Like, you know, never, obviously not like an actual top team, but, you know, like in and about, you know, winning some games.
Yeah. Like, gear for me, I don't know. I've always been very, like, stick to what I know in terms of gear, but for me, I feel like the point of a TF2 tutorial series, obviously, Banny, you know, fair play, do it however you want, whatever you want to make for your YouTube. Like, I'm not here to, like, even vaguely try and criticize how you go about that, but just in terms of objectively, like, how does the scene, like, put together, like, a tutorial series that really helps get players into the game? This first episode was just, like, a quagmire for me. I didn't know really what to make of it.
I think it should be noted as well, like, TF2 doesn't have a problem with player base, like, at all. Like, people know what this game is. People have heard of this game. People know what it is. It's the competitive part that's, like, lost on people. So you don't need to tell people to get a keyboard, to get a mouse. I just feel like the intro specifically is a really almost alienating in some ways. Like, if I'm, like, halfway through an 8-minute video and it's telling me, don't use your trackpad, get an internet connection, I'm going to be like, I'm watching on YouTube right now. I've got an internet connection, thank you. Played games, but I've already played TF2, right? I get it, okay? You know, this isn't, you know, to tell people they need to invest major money to be into competitive TF2, like a 144 hertz monitor, like, oh, you want to play competitive TF2? Have you got £300? No. Well, go get £300 and then come back.
It's the way he says it. It's like he genuinely doesn't even consider the fact that people can't do that. Like, he says something like, you know, gaming's not a particularly expensive hobby, so you might as well invest the money in it. But it's literally people that are 13 years old, like, making up a significant part of his audience. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. Kids play video games, kids watch Twitch. Kids don't have £300. Like, no matter how much they fucking want it, they don't have that money, and it's not their choice. And I feel like it's essentially saying to them, you know, I don't know. That's the message it said to me anyway. I don't know.
Just, like I said, it wasn't necessarily majorly good or majorly bad, just kind of confusing.
I think
Didn't really have an audience.
In his not maybe in his defense specifically, but a lot of the time with these things, particularly in TF2, because it's such a small community, and as I don't want to say a small amount of people make an effort, but, you know, because of the size of a community, there's a lot of different things that could be being done.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's now doing the tutorial series.
Yeah.
So because he's the only guy doing the tutorial series, everyone's going to be more critical because they feel like it needs to be the ultimate thing.
Yeah,
because it's all we've got. Now, you know? Yeah, it's the only thing, you know? So therefore it should be perfect. It should be, but it should, at the very least, it should know what its target audience is. It should have consistency within itself.
Yeah. I mean, in the interest of being, you know, not just literally being here to shit over Banny, because I feel like there are really legitimate points that we're making here, and it's not just like trying to rip on a guy. Part 2 fixed most of these issues, and when watching Part 2, I did feel like there was at least some sense of direction, and I kind of could get who it was aimed at, because, like, yeah, we took so long to do this fucking podcast that the second part came out. But that point aside, Part 2 has actually improved, like, remarkably, but what I really liked about Part 1 was when, in Part 1 of the video series, he welcomed me back to it.
It was great. Welcome back to another episode, episode 1.
That was a nice part. But yeah. Anything else to add on this? Can we put ourselves
Not
down?
really.
I don't know. I know. I'm not convinced by the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, honestly,
not through lack of effort or anything, but I think as well to have it like mapped out and to give it parts, you sort of need to tell people, you give people the map and the parts for it to make sense, you know?
Yeah, because he kind of says he's going to do the map at the end.
Is this part 2 of 200, or is this?
You kind of want to see where each bit fits in with the rest.
Like, So then, for example, say you're already playing at a certain level, you've got your internet connection, you've got your 144 hertz monitor, you've got these things going on, your mentality and attitude are in the right place, right? You want to know maybe when you should tune in, if you should tune in now, or should you tune in like a couple of episodes time because you sort of got that entry bit already,
I can't remember if it's in part 1 or if it's in part 2, but I remember distinctly somewhere in it he says to just jump into games and don't worry, people are going to be nice. Or he said something like, don't worry about people being mean, most people are just going to be really nice to you, or some shit. I wish I'd like written down the note, like the quote or something. But it was something that distinctly gave the impression that just go in and everyone's going to be nice and not
Was it something
rude.
about like don't worry about what other people think or something? Like
it was kind of like that, but it definitely
something from like Bully Week or something.
It was literally like, most like people are going to be cool and like be nice to you, but they fucking won't. Like, people have no fucking patience in pugs. Like, the message was basically go and play pugs and don't worry about people being nasty because people are generally nice. But like
you need a certain amount of mental fortitude to play video games in a vaguely competitive environment on the internet.
Most people have it. Most people have like the fortitude you need. Like they'll give back as good as they get or whatever. But
you just shout fuck off.
Yeah, but they're basically. I feel like a lot of people have been disarmed by watching this. Like, oh, everyone's really nice. You say, okay, then I'm just going to go in and expect everyone. Like you go in like with a certain attitude or a certain expectation, and then how the enjoyment you can kind of mine out of that activity is based on the expectation you had going in. And I feel like everyone's expectation based on this has just been completely offset. Yeah, it's really misleading because.
It's always going to be a problem, especially when it's like aimed at kind of younger kids as well. Like. Yeah. They're more likely to get affected by people just getting really fucking pissed off at everything they do.
Yeah, like, I'm relatively thick-skinned, and I was really keen when I started playing TF2. And in the end, I became quite a good player, made like a name for myself, blah, 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 blah. I remember my first pickups, and players who were like top players at the time were there, and they took royal shits on me. Like, they were like... I was playing demo in a pug, and I remember it was a guy called Daff, who was... He was in Prem, he was like in Team Ireland. He was like a really good player. He was like a soldier. He played with like Admirable in a Yo-Yo Tech team, or a team, was it called Yo-Yo Tech?
It was Watcher. It was like him, Nos, Admirable, and
but then there was a later team where it was like Yo-Yo Tech and shit. And he literally told me I was shit and that I had to get off demo and give it to him in my first pug. And he wasn't like being, oh, don't worry mate, just give me demo and we'll sort things out. It was like, you're shit, get off demo, you're ruining the game. And I was just like, traumatized, dude. I didn't play the game for like a month.
It's funny. It's funny you mention this because I have like a very similar specific memory again from, it would have been MP UK pickup, like the IRC pickup bot at the time.
Yeah.
Because that's how inaccessible competitive TF2 was before. Like you need to fucking download IRC and understand how IRC works to even get into a fucking competitive game. So, like, I remember going from like PubStar, to this, and I remember taking it so serious. Like, I'd honestly warm up on pubs for like a solid 3 hours, and I'd only play a pickup if I felt I was having a good day. Like, my aim is on today. I am queuing up for MP UK. Entry level, anyone with a fucking IRC and internet connection. You did need an internet connection back then as well.
Yeah. Didn't need a mic, interestingly enough, though. You literally didn't need a mic, because they brought out the microphone comms pickup later, where you had to have a microphone to play.
Yeah, that was elitist bullshit, that. Pricing people out of their gaming.
Yep.
I have a similar thing where I would only play Soldier because I was a Soldier main. I could play Soldier. I'd warmed up and I'd played Soldier for the last fucking 7 days of my life. Constantly, I'm a Soldier main, and there were people, higher division players, who were like, "No, we're soldiers. Can you go scout? Just go scout." I was like, "I've never really played scout. I'm gonna be awful. I'm gonna be awful. Like, just bear in mind, I'm going to be awful. Just full disclosure. Don't have any faith in me." And I remember we were holding Badlands last. Nos, Jason, you'll probably remember Nos.
Yeah, Nos was in the game with me and Daff as well. It's worth mentioning.
Nos isn't friendliest guy to lower division players.
Oh yeah, no, he could get
level.
Mad.
Yeah. So he was playing Demo Man. This was back when Demo Man exclusively stickied bottom left on Badlands. You'll remember days of doing this, Jason. And you climb to the top. So he stickied bottom left, right? Coins was on the other team as scout. Nos pipes him in bottom left, and I'm there. I've got his fucking back, right? I've got his back.
Yeah.
And I miss 6 shots, right? Like, Coins is obviously 24 HP, because that's how hitting a pipe and a scout in the game worked back then as well. It was 25 HP. I don't just not do any damage. I like completely blank 6 shots, right? Nos is dodging his heart out, right? Like, still alive. Yeah, just hit him. I'm like, yeah, I got it. Don't worry, I missed like pretty sure like another at least 4 to 6 shots. Coins kills Nos, right? So then I'm like, I can at least trade for frag, right? And Coins just leaves, and I'm just continue floundering shots, and then retreat back to holding top left Badlands last. And Nos went on for that for like a solid another 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, this is just how it is. Like Nos, this is the thing.
That's see what I mean. Like whether you play like CS:GO, League of Legends, Overwatch, whatever. Like if you're playing in this even the ranked lads, and that really ultimately holds no real metric for skill.
Yeah.
Really, like once you get to the pro level, it's somewhat irrelevant. There's a massive jump. People will still like find a way. Like people will blame you. People will have a go. People will be ragey, whether you're doing good or not. You know, like. But telling people everyone's going to be friendly, like maybe TF2's less bad than other games, but people are still going to call you a fucking shitter.
Yeah, it's just the way competitive gaming is, and it's interesting that whole story is about Nos, because like I gave my story about how Daft like traumatized me in my first game, but Nos was there as well. And granted, Nos wasn't saying anything in that game, but later on, Nos became like he was the first top player I ever became like friends with, and he sort of he told me at one point when I wasn't as bad anymore, he was like like he kind of took me and was like you're a new player but you're quite good, you might be able to be good one day. And he was like, long story short, actually he was quite a nice guy. Nos was like not a bad guy or a nasty person at all, and he was quite like he like embraced me as a new player like quite early on. And yet this is just how people are in video games on the internet.
Yeah, like again, like what Nos said to me, like calling me a fucking idiot, like I'm pretty sure I would have said like worse things to people for less.
I fucking heard it.
Like, it's just, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you've said worse to me actually in a couple pickups.
Yeah, probably. Like I don't really negotiate in pickups. You either do what I want to do or you're dead to me.
That's about right.
But yeah, like TF2 is, I'd say more welcoming and more accessible, just because you don't have like, because it's not as big. Again, it's been said to death, but because it's not as big, it's smaller. I even remember back then you do like, what was it called? You know, the Mentor Project?
Oh god, yeah.
Jason, yeah, like
I kind of remember it.
But stuff like that still kind of happens. You know what I mean? People take people under their wing. AMS's whole career, like his whole launch to fucking a pro TF2 player was because Zebasai was like, this guy's got it, right? I'm going to take him under my wing to the point I'm even going to put him in my Premiership team. Stuff like that happens all the time.
Yeah.
And it is more accessible than other games, but I think to say there's not anyone who's going to be mean to you, or
You've still got to
don't worry about it.
When you go and play a pug or whatever the kids play these days, like I guess it's Face It who's advertising. When you go and play with 5 other people who are not good, but they understand 6v6 and they're fun, like they're competent 6v6 players. They can play a game and not get on each other's nerves. When you go in, stick out like a sore thumb, blow shit, like go to the wrong last point and walk the wrong way out of spawn, and you can't defend your medic from like a spy who's been uncloaked, or or whatever, like you can't get the most basic frag, which is going to happen to almost every like one who starts out. Like people are gonna get pissed. They're gonna get really pissed, and they're gonna like let you know about it, and that's fine. That's just the way gaming is. But I don't unarm people against this. Don't make them expect something else, because that's what they're gonna get at the end of the day. That was actually one of the biggest things that struck me about it, was just how like misleading it could be. Because you could go in and be like, you could have been completely happy to tolerate people's shit going in, but then you hear, oh, actually everyone's gonna be nice, and then you go in not expecting a load of shit, and you just take it differently depending on what you expect. I think.
Yeah, no, like it's important to manage people's expectations in the same way it's important to, like especially since the whole part 2 is about like attitude and mentality, like how you approach the game.
Yeah.
Like it's, even though I guess it sounds quite basic, but what it should have been is just more of a broad things, like understand that you're going to be shit and out of your depth for a while, like even if you've gone from pubs, like I remember going from pub stomping to playing competitive and feeling like going from feeling like hot shit to feeling like I've never touched the game before. Like manage people's expectations.
Yeah. I'm agree, bro. I'm agree. But yeah, like I say, episode 2 seemed better. I'm hoping. I'm genuinely hoping it gets good. Well, not gets good, but like carries on as part 2 is rather than part 1, because it's gonna be like the tutorial, the defining tutorial for probably the rest of TF2. Until Valve like make a significant change to the game that changes the game, this will be the de facto tutorial that everyone gets pointed to.
Like, what was it, like 23k views on episode 1,
Yeah.
16k on episode 2? Like,
so yeah.
In terms of the work that's got into it, you can see it's easy for people to kind of watch. It isn't some idiot like recording like a Twitch VOD where they say about some stuff and ramble a bit. It's concise. It's well edited. It's like has the capacity to be really good if done right.
Yeah.
It's put together, like it looks easily accessible. I just don't always, if the message within it isn't always consistent or as clear as it should be.
Yeah. And this one final point on it was the commands. When in the command section, like FOV desired, CL auto reload, and like these other various commands, I feel like, I don't know, there should have been some explanation in the video itself, like what these do. Because people are essentially putting in like random commands. And a lot of people were like, for example, my config, when I first started TF2, if I put a command in console and then relaunched the game, that command would be gone, and it would just be reverted back to default. But there's like no explanation of what these commands are. Like HUD combat text 1, does that mean anything to you as a new player? It didn't mean anything to me. They're just sort of like, put these in your console, and then no explanation.
It'll make
given.
you good.
Yeah, like there should have been like more time,
or like a basic config, or just say like, here are some basic commands. Here's what they do. Here's why they're useful. If you look in the description, there's a config. Put it in this folder, and it'll have these run every time.
Yeah, I think actually in the description they did actually give like a list of the commands and some brief explanation. So I guess that point isn't actually as bad.
Okay.
But nonetheless, when I watched the video, I found it quite jarring, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. That's what I thought, basically.
Not much left to be said. Yeah,
that's pretty much it. To be fair, we've fucking rambled on for decades now, so unless anyone has anything else to add.
No, I'm good.
Pretty much it this week. So yeah.
Things.
If anyone made it this far, congrats, gang. The idea behind this podcast is we'll do it periodically. It's not going to be weekly, obviously, because no one has fucking time for this every week. But it'll be whenever enough significant things happen in the game. Maybe it'll be different people, maybe it'll be the same people. It depends, basically, on what happens. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything to add? Yeah, that's pretty much it, gang. So just see you next time, perhaps.